Today, the IMF and Pakistan government finalized the $6 billion package for helping out Pakistan's financial issues. The package is loaded with upfront key actions. The IMF and Pakistan government thinks that this will stimulate the economy after 2 years in 2021. The first step that is going to be taken in this regard will be the budget 2019-2020. In the first year, Pakistan will have to generate additional tax revenues of about 600 billion. They are going to raise power tariffs for the upper end, which I think is good. They have agreed that Pakistan will carry on giving subsidies to people using below 300 units. In my opinion, that should have been 500 units. But fair enough, if we have agreed not to raise tariffs for the poor, that is a good thing. And if we have agreed to raise tariffs for the rich, for those who use too much of energy and electricity, it is also good. That would bring down demand of usage as well as generate revenue. We have also agreed to raise tariffs of electricity by ₹1 to pay back the circular debt, and it is envisaged that the circular debt will end by end of year 2020, which I think is also good. We have decided to sell 2 LNG plants to the private sector. I have not understood the reasonability of the whole thing, because going into the private sector would raise the prices of LNG. But in the end of things, yes, if the government is not able to manage its private sector, its public sector enterprises, then I think they should be privatized. Let's see how efficient they will become once they are privatized. The government deficit has to come down, and that has to be helped by the private sector, provincial governments also. Now, the whole context of the whole thing is that one should know that things are going to become very expensive. The energy costs are going to. I have also understood that the understanding between IMF and the government of Pakistan is that we should not go towards growth in the first 2 years. We should go towards bringing down inflation. The increasing of taxes on one side is contractionary, and the bringing down of inflation through monetary policy is also contractionary. So if both the policies are contractionary, then I do not understand the phenomenon of increasing confidence of the so-called investors, because investors usually invest when there is expansionary fiscal policy and expansionary monetary policy. But if both the policies are contractionary, then one should know that prices going up, which is inflationary in the end, because cost push inflation will go up, as well as the employment levels will go down, because growth is going to go down. So how it is going to stabilize the economy, I have no clue. But at the same time, these structural reforms were needed. Pakistan was initiating or injecting too much inefficiencies in the economy through its public sector dealings. there is no understanding between IMF and government of Pakistan of making the government small, and that is where the issue is. There is no understanding of bureaucratic reforms, institutional reforms. That is where the issue is. We want to know whether no growth can come if your 19th century laws and institutions are going to initiate the 21st century growth. That cannot happen. So in the first 2 years, we all know that the growth rates are going to go down. This much needed $6 billion are going to pay back old debts, and that might give a respite to the government, but remember, they have to be paid back. So the initial impact of the IMF package and conditionalities will come after the budget 2019-2020. But at the same time, how would I say, the structural conditions, one of the interesting conditions which I agree with is that the public sector institutions will not be bailed out. They have to pay for their own inefficiencies and their own deficits. So the government deficit is going to be reduced, the circle debt is going to be reduced, the old debts are going to be paid back, and at the same time, the upper end earners in this country will be forced to pay more taxes and more energy costs, while the lower end people are going to be protected through the Ashiana scheme and through giving subsidies for 300 units. So I believe that in the end of things, apart from the investment climate, which is not going to be very favorable, the employment climate, which is not going to be very favorable, it is a win-win situation for the government and the IMF in the circumstances. Thank you very much.